Let's talk prediction markets. Joining us here at the NASDAQ is Tarek Mansour, Kalshi CEO. We should mention that Kalshi and CNBC have a commercial relationship that includes customer acquisition and a minority investment. We were discussing some of the cynical things about Washington on the break. Yeah, that was my... Why even measure certain things on Kalshi when you know it's all done? It's a kabuki dance in Washington anyway, right? But that doesn't mean that people don't want to bet on outcomes, right?
Well, I mean, first of all, thanks for having me. I mean, that's why you want to start measuring these things, right? Like the discourse. I mean, when we started coming in 2018, I was 22, and when I started seeing this sort of, I was shocked by how polarized the discourse has gotten, and everything is sort of hazy, emotional, opinion-based, partisan, polarized, and the whole point of prediction markets is actually like, could we add some layer of objectivity to this conversation? Could we make it less emotional, a little bit more objective? And this is why we launched KPOW recently, the Kalshi Political Index, because you ask people, are we leaning Republican or Democrat right now, and you get 10 different answers based on what their algorithms are feeding them, or who they're talking to, or their social circles. But this index is actually aggregating all of our prediction market data, all the forecasts coming from the markets, to give you one number on are we projected, or are we tilting right now Republican or Democrat based on how things are heading. Right now we're actually +3 Republican. So it went down +4 Democrats when the Iran war was at its peak, after the Virginia redistricting, and now some of the ceasefire talks. We're leaning slightly Republican back.
Does it take into account the elections in New York last night?
It does. It does. It does. But this is less about what's the composition of each party, but more like which party is basically going to be in power. So it weighs basically 25% on current seats held across Senate, House, Presidency, Supreme Court, and then the 75% weight on projected ownership of these seats.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but I would like to know, because the question I asked, can we extrapolate what happened last night nationally? Is that going to play nationally, or does it actually hurt Democrats when the geographic center of the party, every time something like this happens, you have to move it further out to the left? Let
me tell you, so the net impact out of yesterday. So Kalshi predicted most of these races. There was one that was an upset. Chevalier was actually at 30% on Kalshi.
I didn't know that.
And that was a win. But what we're seeing is a shift. So the odds of the Senate races for 26 have moved. So Abdul is up in Michigan. He's at 78% now. And you're seeing, a number of the House races, basically a lot of the more progressive candidates have gained quite a bit of grounds and are shooting up after yesterday's news, the sweep that they had. But now 28 is not moving much yet. So we haven't seen any meaningful impact on 28. And I think usually these things go in waves, right? And I think the market is projecting right now a wave in 26, but I think tapering down back into 28.
You started talking about the methodology, so 25% based on current composition. So I assume you must have back tested this to say what's the new market information from informed pools of participants that can get you to some approximation of handicapping an outcome that's better than polls.
Yeah, I think that maybe backtracking. So the idea behind the index, the Kalshi Political Index, KPOW, is to be some sort of S&P for politics, right? Like a tracker, a number that over time you can trade, or other that moves not with the economy or other metrics. It moves with one specific metric, which is balance of power. Now, prediction markets, what they do is they answer discrete questions, right? Who is going to win the presidency, who's going to win the seat in the Senate, and so on and so forth. But a lot of the things that we're talking about here are more like what you're asking is how are we leaning? Where are we going? Where are we heading next? That's not a precise question. That's not a discrete yes or no question. And that's why we create an index that basically weighs all the prediction market data. So we have hundreds of races, but not also who's going to win, but also the margin of victory. And then we weigh all of that to create this one number of like Republican versus Democrat. And it's essentially, it goes between minus 50 to plus 50. So, plus 50 Democrats, plus 50 Republican. Those are the extremes. And it basically oscillates between those two. We've back tested it quite a bit. I mean, if you look at it right now on the screen, it really fits what the sentiment feels like, right? Like if you look back at February, March, April, things have really felt, we're starting to lean Democrat because that was the peak of Iran war and a lot of things that are happening around that. But after the Virginia redistricting and the sort of ceasefire talks, I think we're back to sort of leaning slightly Republican.
Man, if you could get the insider trading issues under control, this is really useful. It almost reminds me of the difference in commodity futures. I mean, there's gamblers that are, that are doing one thing, and then there's people that use it for very useful reasons. And to be able to sift through the mainstream media coverage of things, or the echo chambers of both sides in Washington, that's invaluable to have something that's objectively based. But it just seems rife for abuse, and that I don't. It's like the wild, wild west. And there's times when I look at prediction markets and I say this can't stand, or something needs. There needs to be a lot more regulation. But there are really useful end results that you can get that aren't based on gambling.
I'm all for regulation. Kalshi our entire history has been based. Our entire positioning has been we're a pro-regulation company. We took a regulatory first approach. When we started building this company,
you have a way of doing it. It just seems like there's so many things.
Look, I think if you look at what's happened in the last 6 months, right? Like the insider trading cases that you're hearing about, the ones that are going uncaught or that are going kind of rampant, they're happening offshore. Unfortunately, our competitors have gone and taken the opposite route, which is they've gone offshore. They built it outside of America without any regulation and without any oversight. Now, we took the different approach when we started in 2018, which we took 3-4 years to get regulated up front, and a lot of that regime that we're abiding by under the CFC is how do we police insider trading and how do we ensure market integrity. And look, it's a hard problem, but it's not an impossible one. And the way that it works is you KYC everyone. We know everyone that's trading on our exchange. We know their IDs, their social security, their name, etc. Now, and then you run surveillance, comprehensive surveillance, which is like, and this is what's interesting about the prediction markets. You see it in the chart. Whenever some weird pattern happens, the prices moves in an unnatural way, you flag these participants, and then you investigate them, and then you punish them, from fines all the way to criminal prosecution. You've seen us bring a bunch of cases on a bunch of people around these markets. Now, we're not just abiding by the current regulations. We're actually regulating ourselves beyond what's currently required from us. And you guys actually reported on the employment verification and the proactive bans that we're basically putting on participants. So, like, if you're a member of Congress today, or a staffer, you can't trade on Kalshi on anything that may involve things that you have material non-public information on. And so we're doing a very effective job of policing it. The hope is to make a lot of these things that we're doing law so that others in the industry have to follow the same rules, and we make it safe over time. Because I agree with you. It's a very, the whole premise of this thing is that we can get less partisan, less bias, more mathematical answer to a lot of these questions.